One day we might be separated. Then one day when my mom is away for work, we don't get picked up.
Se puede, sí 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 se puede.
Good afternoon. Thank you to Uriel for inviting me to speak to you today. I, along with my family and friends, are honored to stand in solidarity for immigrant rights with all of you. We are descendants of Japanese immigrants to the United States, and our families were unjustly incarcerated, during World War II due to systemic racism and a lack of political leadership. Thank you. Today we are facing existential threats. Today we are facing existential threats to our democracy, civil liberties, and human rights. Trump's racist rhetoric is vilifying immigrants as the enemy, while his discriminatory policies are inflicting tremendous fear in our vulnerable communities. Scapegoating, mass roundups, indefinite detention, mass deportation, and family separation are alarming reminders of the civil and human rights violations perpetrated against our families during World War II. Trump's threats to invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 for the mass deportation of millions of immigrants based solely on their national origin called to mind the last time this wartime authority was implemented. Within a day of the attack on Pearl Harbor, President Roosevelt invoked the Alien Enemies Act, which led to the roundup and imprisonment of over 31,000 innocent Japanese, German, and Italian non-citizens living in the United States and ceased from Latin America. The Alien Enemies Act had a devastating impact on my family and 2,260 other Japanese Latin Americans during World War II. My father, Carlos Arturo Isamu Shibayama, was a 13-year-old Peruvian citizen enjoying a peaceful and idyllic life when he and his family were seized from their home in Lima, Peru. They were transported under U.S. military guard across international borders to New Orleans. Under the guise of hemispheric security, they were imprisoned as enemy aliens at a Department of Justice internment camp in Crystal City, Texas. Earlier, my great-grandparents had been deported to war-torn Japan when the U.S. government used them in a prisoner exchange for American civilians trapped in Japan. My father, aunts and uncles, grandparents, and great-grandparents had done nothing wrong, yet they lost their homes and businesses, their community and chosen country, their freedom and dignity. Although the U.S. government abducted them and destroyed their identification papers, they were scapegoated as illegal aliens and were forced to fight deportation for decades. To this day, the U.S. government refuses to publicly apologize and grant proper reparations for these crimes against humanity. Shame. My father fought for justice for Japanese Latin Americans for decades until his passing in 2018. In fact, he was invited to share his experiences in this beautiful building about a year after its opening. My father was determined to hold the U.S. government accountable so that no other family would face the hardships and injustices that his family was forced to overcome. He would be heartbroken to see what is happening to immigrant families in our nation today. Let us unite and mobilize to defend our friends and neighbors who are being targeted under the current administration. Please support the Neighbors Not Enemies Act, which was reintroduced to Congress last month and will repeal the outdated and dangerous Alien Enemies Act. Let us resist xenophobia, discrimination, and hate. Let us organize for justice, equality, and peace. Thank you.